Hi everyone! So as always, you can skip to this timestamp down below if you do not want to hear my intro and you just want to get straight to the recap. But if you don't, stick around. So again, hi everyone. I know it's been 2 weeks. It was an unplanned 2-week break, trust me. It is getting to the end of the semester, which means that I know I keep bringing up school, but that's literally what is stopping me from making videos. And especially with this being like the last month, things just keep ramping up and up and up and up and up. And so yes, it was an unplanned 2-week break. I literally took my notes for the video I'm filming right now 3 weeks ago in preparation to film this video, and then everything is still going awry. But I wanted to get on here. I wanted to make a video and, put out videos because I do genuinely love putting out YouTube videos. But I will be saying that since it is the end of the semester, to make it a lot easier on myself, I am moving to a posting every other week schedule. I do not know for how long, but for the next few weeks at the minimum. But here I am. Today we are going to be talking and recapping my favorite 10th Doctor episode. I did this video for the 9th Doctor, so if you haven't seen that one, it will be posted in the description. Like I said in the last episode, in the 9th Doctor episode, it was a lot easier to do the 9th Doctor season because he only has one season versus the 10th Doctor, 11th, 12th, and more. They all, as far as I know, because I haven't looked at the 14th Doctor. I don't have access to him. But as far as I know, every other Doctor in rebooted Doctor Who has 3 seasons as the Doctor. And the 10th and the 11th are my favorite. It goes 11th, then 10th, but their seasons are like peak Doctor Who for me. And so it was definitely very, very hard to pick what episode out of the 10th Doctor season I thought was my favorite. To be honest, the way I went into deciding which episode to choose is I was like, if I could only watch one 10th Doctor storyline for the rest of my life, which one would I choose? That's what I based my 9th Doctor reasoning off of, and that's what I based this one off of, and is what contributed to why I picked the episode I picked. Now, before I actually tell you which one, I should say, like I kind of mentioned that in the 9th Doctor episode, Doctor Who, some of the episodes within Doctor Who are two-parters. Now that I'm doing this and I'm kind of hyper scanning over Doctor Who episodes, there is a lot more two-part episodes than I realized. And so I will spoil, I picked another two-parter because I wanted to do the storyline. Which storyline could I only watch for the rest of my life? And if the storyline is continued over 2 episodes, then those 2 episodes equal one storyline. So therefore, yes, it's broken over 2 episodes, but it's almost like one episode, if you get what I'm saying. If that bothers you, I'm sorry. But the episodes I ended up picking were Season 4, Episode 12, The Stolen Earth, and Season 4, Episode 13, Journey's End. I will say there are going to be spoilers. I will be recapping both of the episodes as I tell you why I chose this storyline as my favorite Doctor Who storyline from the 10th Doctor's seasons. So just saying that right now. Spoilers up ahead. But without further ado, let's get started with Season 4, Episode 12, The Stolen Earth. The episode starts with the Doctor and Donna landing on Earth. The Doctor is a bit apprehensive because Donna has just told him that she has seen Rose, she has interacted with Rose, which she has. I'm not going to go into the storyline of the episodes she meets with Rose, but she has in fact seen and interacted with Rose. One of the reasons that he is a bit apprehensive about the fact that she has seen Rose is because Rose is supposed to be trapped in an alternate universe that not even the Doctor in the TARDIS is able to access. So for her to see Rose, physically interact with Rose, she's either lying or something has to be wrong, which the Doctor doesn't necessarily believe that Donna is lying to him. So he basically says if she's able to cross over, the walls of the universe are breaking down. Not long after landing on Earth, the Doctor and Donna head back into the TARDIS because the Doctor is trying to, use the TARDIS for answers. And as they're in the TARDIS, they start to experience an earthquake. And when the Doctor goes to open the TARDIS doors again, he sees that they are in space. And Donna questions the Doctor about this, but the Doctor explains that they have not moved. They were on Earth, he parked the TARDIS on Earth, and they have not moved. The Earth moved. Now I should warn you, there are a lot of jumps in this episode from character to character to character to character. So if it seems like I'm jumping a lot, I'm literally jumping with how it jumps in the episode. Just warning you right now. Because next we jump to far across the universe, as the episode says, to Martha in New York. She is at UNIT and they are all confused as to what just happened. It was sunlight outside, now it's dark. There was a big earthquake, now it's dark. Like, what is happening? Then we cut to Jack Harkness in Torchwood in Cardiff, Wales. He is also accompanied by Yanto and Gwen. They're all okay, but they also want to know what the big earthquake was. Then we jump to, I believe it's pronounced Elling. Sorry, I'll just say Ealing. I'm sorry if that's the wrong pronunciation. We jump to Ealing, London, where we meet Sarah Jane, Luke, and Mr. Smith, which is a computer. If you haven't noticed by now, we're getting a crossover from all the Doctor Who spin-off shows, that being, I think, Sarah Jane Adventures. I've never seen that one, and Torchwood. Then we get our last jump, and we jump to Chiswick, London, where we meet Martha's granddad and her mom. Her mom's name is Sylvia, so I'll be calling her Sylvia from this point forward instead of Donna's mom. In all of these jump cuts, when we see the looks on their faces, we still don't know what has happened, what has transpired. We just know that they are all in disbelief as to what they see around them, what they see outside in the dark. But before we get the reveal as to what they are seeing, we jump to Rose. And we actually get this reveal when Rose gets to Earth. She looks up, she's standing outside. When we cut to the sky, there are planets in the sky. And I'm not talking like small. These planets are absolutely big in the sky. After we see this big reveal of the planets, we jump back to the Doctor and Donna, and the Doctor honestly has no answers. He cannot find where the Earth has gone, and so with no choices, he decides to take himself and Donna to go see the Shadow Proclamation, which he describes as basically like the police for space. I should also mention there are 26 planets in the sky, not including Earth. That information will be important later. So this next segment, we get this information through cutting from Martha to Torchwood to Sarah Jane, all of them basically finding out what's happening separately, but I kind of compiled it into one little list just to make it easier. So basically, what we learn is someone has cast a shell around the Earth, sealing the air and the heat in the planet, and there is a spaceship in the center, in the heart of the 27 planets. But that spaceship is in fact heading towards Earth. And one important thing is that Martha has a phone that the Doctor gave her, which makes it so that she can call him from anywhere and the phone is not working. This is a big thing because the phone should work, but that's also important for later. Martha is also the medical director for a project called Project Indigo, which is a big thing in this episode. I know I keep just throwing facts at you, but I promise they all make sense. You need them to understand what is happening in these episodes. While our different people, that being Torchwood, Martha, Sarah Jane, are all waiting for this message that is supposed to be sent from this ship, they're waiting for that message to come through because they're all patching through to understand it. And the minute the message goes through, they hear one word that instills fear even in the Doctor, and that word is exterminate. And if you don't know what that word comes from, it is the attack saying, I guess you can say, of the Daleks, the very lethal, only wants to, murder and kill any living thing that isn't a Dalek on any planet anywhere. I was going to say on Earth. No, any planet anywhere. They do not care. They do not discriminate. There's even this scene where the message gets patched through to Torchwood, and Jack literally just grabs Gwen and Yanto and is like, I'm sorry. Y'all were so young. I'm so sorry. I can't do anything about this. Like, that's how much fear the Daleks instill in people. In fact, the Daleks killed Jack the first time. They're partly the reason he is immortal, but that's just side note information. The Doctor and Donna finally arrive at the Shadow Proclamation, and the Doctor asks if they know anything about the Earth going missing, and the lady who runs the Shadow Proclamation isn't necessarily concerned simply about the Earth, because she says that not only did the Earth disappear, but 24 planets disappeared. 23 other planets disappeared alongside the Earth. So just worrying about Earth is the least on her list. And as they're all kind of just like standing there trying to work it out, Donna brings up the missing planet of Pyrovillian and the Adipose 3 breeding planet. These are planets that have been mentioned along the season as disappearing all throughout time and space. And so this is why she brings it up. I'm just telling you that, because you're not going to know that unless you saw those episodes. And that information actually helps the Doctor to work out that when all the planets that have been stolen are aligned correctly, they create a powerhouse, they create an engine. As for what, the Doctor does not know yet, but they create a very, very very powerful source. Then we cut to Torchwood tracking the Dalek attack path, and they're basically going after military bases. He's on the phone with Martha telling her this because Martha is in unit, so they are definitely a target for the Daleks. And as she's on the phone with him, she gets whisked away and she gets taken to use Project Indigo. She's also given something called the Ostahagen key. Jack is still on the phone with her when all of this is happening, and he's basically yelling at her to please not use Project Indigo, and that is because he tells us a bit later in the episode that it is cheap and nasty time travel. It's not precise. It possibly can just, for lack of a better term, vaporize the person who uses it. But Martha explaining that she has a mission to do, she does end up taking the Ostahagen key and using Project Indigo, and at this point, when Jack is no longer able to get a hold of her, he believes that she has passed. Then we cut to the Dalek ship where we see the Daleks and Davros, the father of the Daleks. Saying Daleks is so hard. Let me just tell you, because my mouth wants to go Darleks. But it's Daleks, not Darleks. I'm trying my best. So if it sounds like it's not rolling off my tongue, it's because it's not. I'm trying my best to pronounce the L correctly. But as they are celebrating victory, a Dalek called Dalek Khan, who is a half-destroyed Dalek who went crazy after throwing himself into the Time War, which is a locked point in time. Because he went crazy, now he's able to prophesize stuff, and basically he prophesizes that the Doctor is coming. And I'm gonna have to read off of my paper for about the next few lines because I just want to get this information correctly, and it's so hard to explain if I don't just directly read it from here, so please bear with me. We cut to the Doctor using the disappearing of the bees, which he says half the bees are from planet Earth, but some of the bees are aliens. But he uses the disappearing of the bees as a way to track where Earth has gone to. And he says because of the Tandoka scale, which is a series of wavelengths used as carrier signals by migrant bees, because of that, he is able to use this kind of like invisible field to track where the Earth has been whisked off to. And this funny part happens where the Shadow Proclamation demands that the Doctor help them and be their commander as they wage war on whoever took all the planets. And he simply is like, yeah, let me just get something. And then he gets in the TARDIS and just dips. He doesn't even stay. That's like going into a police station and they saying you arrested. And you're like, let me just go get something from my car. And then you drive off. Then we cut back to Donna's grandfather and Sylvia, and they are basically trying to evade getting caught by the Daleks, because at this point, the Daleks are gathering up every single human and taking them away. They do eventually get caught, and the Dalek that catches them is about to murder them when they get saved by Rose, who ends up murdering the Dalek first. And then Rose asks them to take her to their home. Then we cut back to the Doctor, and he basically stops where the Tandoka scale stops him, and he is still just in the middle of space. He can still not find Earth, and at this point he kind of just wants to give up because right in front of him is not the missing planet Earth, it is just the Medusa Cascade. Then we get cuts to each member of our episode, that being Torchwood, Rose, Sarah Jane and her gang, and Martha because she's alive. The computers that they have turn on, they're basically patched through to a version of FaceTime called the Subwave Network, which was created by Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister, as she likes to call herself. In this video call, Jack is relieved to see that Martha is alive. Sarah Jane and Jack are meeting for the first time. Martha and Sarah Jane are meeting for the first time. The only one who is not able to celebrate this video call is Rose, and that is because at Donna's house, the computer that she's using to view the video does not have a camera, so no one even knows that she is there. No one knows beyond Donna's family that she's even back on Earth. This is one of the reasons I picked this episode, and that is because we are seeing all these crossovers and all these different people that the Doctor has traveled with, met, and had adventures with are together. They are all in one episode. They are all doing the thing, kind of like when all the Avengers like team up and start fighting crime. Like I love it. But before I get ahead of myself, I want to give a direct quote as to what the Subwave Network is. It is basically a sentient piece of software programmed to seek out anyone and everyone who can help contact the Doctor. Because if you remember, Martha is the only one with a phone that is able to get into contact with the Doctor, and it is not working. The Subwave Network is also not detectable by the Daleks, which is important for not even that long from now. Basically, the group works out that they can use all the power that they have from their different systems to channel an energy into Martha's phone and make it so that the doctor is able to track that signal from that phone. And that's exactly what they do, and it ends up calling the doctor's phone on the TARDIS, and he is able to follow that signal to find Earth. But the thing about it is that because the signal was so strong, this makes it so that the Daleks can pinpoint where the subwave network was coming from, which means they are able to find Harriet Jones's location. She fully well knows this, so before the Daleks are able to get to her, she transfers the ownership of the subway network over to Jack and Torchwood, and then she says her goodbyes and gets exterminated by the Daleks. Cut to the Doctor and Donna. Like I said, they were able to follow the signal to get to Earth, and they're able to find all 27 planets that have been stolen. The Doctor basically says that the entire Medusa Cascade has been put a second out of sync with the rest of the universe, basically hiding it in a tiny pocket of time. That's why even when he was at the Medusa Cascade, he could not see them. Now that they are in the realm that the 27 planets are in, the Doctor and Donna automatically get patched through to the subwave network. And so now he's on a big FaceTime call with Jack, Martha, Sarah Jane, and Rose is still there, but again, she does not have a camera, so no one knows that she is there, unfortunately. The Doctor doesn't know that Rose is back. But as they are all so happy to see each other, another signal patches onto the subwave network, and it is Davros. At the sight of Davros, the Doctor is taken back because the Doctor up until this point believed that Davros died in the first year of the Time War, which at this point was centuries ago. So to find out that this man is not only alive but alive and well and taken 27 planets, crazy. Davros basically explains, actually gloats in the Doctor's face, that he was saved by Dalek Khan, which if you remember is the Dalek I mentioned who went mad because he flew into the Time War. He flew into the Time War to save Davros. I mean, I can respect devotion, but that's a bit much. I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the scene, what's really funny that happens is like as Davros is taunting the Doctor, he basically ends the call in a sassy way to Davros and flies to Earth. I wish I could play it here. I can't, but it's so funny. But before we cut back to the Doctor, we actually cut to the Dalek ship where Dalek Khan prophesizes everlasting death for the most faithful companion. Then the Daleks find that the subwave network that was originally transmitted through Sarah Jane is now getting transmitted through Torchwood, so now they go after our Torchwood people in Wales. Upon knowing this information, Yanto and Gwen start suiting up to fight the Dalek as Jack fixes his teleport with the help of Martha to go and find the Doctor. Sarah Jane also leaves her son and her house to go find the Doctor, and Rose also leaves Donna's family to go find the Doctor. The Doctor and Donna land on Earth, and as he opens the door, the Doctor and Donna are looking around, and Rose and the Doctor finally see each other again, and as they are running towards each other, a Dalek comes out of nowhere and shoots the Doctor. The minute that this happens, this is when Jack teleports to them, and before the Dalek can shoot anyone else, Jack shoots the Dalek. Then at the end of the episode, we get 3 cuts. Our first cut is to Sarah Jane. She's in the car about to drive to go find the Doctor when she gets cornered by Daleks who are about to exterminate her for breaking the rules. Then we get a cut to Torchwood as the Dalek just entered their compound. Then our last cut is to Rose, Jack, and Donna bringing the Doctor into the TARDIS. They all step back because the Doctor is about to regenerate. Let's continue on to the next episode, y'all. So our next episode is season 4, episode 13, Journey's End. This one is a doozy. Our episode starts with the Doctor actually regenerating, but instead of changing faces, he directs all his regeneration energy into his spare hand that is sitting in his ship. As he's just there, kind of like, shaking off what he just did, Rose, Jack, and Donna are looking at him very confused because up until this point, they only know that when this man regenerates, he changes faces. But before we get an explanation on that, we cut to Sarah Jane, again, about to be X'd by a Dalek, but she gets saved when the Dalek is shot, and we get a cut to seeing Mickey and Jackie showing up to save her. Then we cut to Gwen and Yanto, practically, truly unloading their guns on this Dalek. They do a quick pause to check if they're doing any damage, and when they go to see, they see that the bullets are stopped in mid-air. They're not making contact with the Dalek, and the Dalek is not making contact with them. Then we cut back to the Doctor explaining that instead of fully regenerating, he used enough regeneration energy to heal himself, and then he directed the rest of the regeneration energy into the hand. He says the only reason he's able to do do this is because his hand is a biomatch receptacle. And so at this point, because now I'm on the 12th Doctor as I'm actively watching Doctor Who, I just finished seeing the 11th Doctor and his regeneration. And there was this big storyline in the last episodes of the 11th Doctor where it was a big thing that the Doctor can only have 13 regenerations, I believe. And his 11th face was supposed to be his last. And it was like, why is he on his 13th regeneration if he's only had 11 faces? And one of the things that he says is that he actually regenerated twice as the 10th Doctor. And he describes this as him kind of like going through his emo phase. So yeah, the Doctor describes his 10th Doctor self as him going through an emo phase. That might not be the direct quote, but it's like he says something along the lines of that, which is, it's just funny. Once he has done his regeneration, him and Rose finally get that hug that they were running for, and we get to see that right before we cut back to Torchwood with Yanto and Gwen. Yanto explains that the reason that they are not able to contact the Dalek physically and the Dalek is not able to contact them physically is because there is a wall between them that is a time lock. It was a time lock created by Tosh or Toshiko that seals the base in basically like a bubble of time. So basically nothing can get into the base, but they cannot get out of the base without unlocking the time lock, which obviously if they do that, they're going to get attacked by a Dalek. Then we cut back to the streets of London where the Daleks have finally located the Doctor's TARDIS and they place it in a temporal prison to be teleported up to the Dalek command ship. The Dalek command ship is called the Crucible. While all this is happening, Sarah Jane, Mickey, and Jackie are watching from far away. And I mention this because it's important later. Jackie, Rose, and Mickey all traveled out of their parallel universe using these, like, it looks like just like a big button, but it's basically a dimension jumper. It also makes it so they can travel in like time and space, or at the minimum space. And basically Sarah Jane sees that and asks them if they could use that to travel up to the Crucible, and they tell her no, it has a cooldown period of 30 minutes, half an hour. Important later. Because of this, Sarah Jane, Jackie, and Mickey purposely get caught by the Daleks so that they are able to be taken up to the Crucible so that they can go and meet, you know, the Doctor and Rose, Donna, and Jack. It's gonna get a lot more busy at the end of this episode, trust me. We get a quick cut to Martha and we find out that she has landed in Germany and she's heading up towards this castle, and then we get a cut back to the Doctor and his little crew. And basically, Rose's parallel universe is ahead of the universe that the Doctor, Donna, and all of them live in. So the events that are happening right now have already happened in her universe. So the Doctor inquires what happens in her universe as a way to kind of figure out what will happen in their universe if this continues. And Rose basically explains that the invasion leads to darkness, just all in the sky everywhere, stars gone, planets gone. And so in an effort to save their universe, they built a time machine to get to the Doctor's universe to get him to help them. Their little time travel device was called a dimension cannon. And the thing about it is them using the dimension cannon to get over to the Doctor's universe is the reason that the Doctor's universe is collapsing in the first place. She also explains that the dimension cannon can measure people's timelines, and she says that all of the timelines seem to converge on Donna. Throughout this conversation, the TARDIS was getting transported up to the Crucible. Now it has landed on the Crucible, and once they are on it, they all step out of the TARDIS. I mean, at this point, there is really nowhere to hide. Them staying in the TARDIS is not going to help them. The Doctor also explains this information to Jack and Rose. I do not remember which one of them brings it up, but one of them is like, aren't they safe in the TARDIS? Couldn't they just stay in the TARDIS? Because before, the Doctor had told them that the Daleks cannot get through the TARDIS door, but he explains to them in that moment that when he said that, that was not a full-fledged Dalek fleet. This is a full-fledged Dalek fleet, and those doors now are no better than just wooden doors anywhere. So as they're all exiting, Donna stops at the door because she gets distracted by what sounds like a heartbeat. I didn't mention it, but she's been hearing this a little bit throughout the last episode, and this, I believe, is the first time she's hearing it in this episode. We don't know what it is at this point. Obviously, we're going to find out. But that stops her from exiting the TARDIS, and as everyone is outside, the Doctor calls her to come and meet them, but before she can come out of the TARDIS to meet them, the doors shut on her, and she gets locked in. The Daleks explain that it was not their doing. They're not the reason the TARDIS door shut with Donna in it, but they do not care that Donna is now trapped in the TARDIS. They still send the TARDIS down a chute to be deposited in the heart of the Crucible, which the heart of the Crucible is made out of Z neutrino Oh my gosh. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, but it's Z neutrino energy, which is strong enough to break down a TARDIS. And as this is happening, the doctor is just yelling and asking them to stop what they're doing so he can save Donna, and they do not care. They do not care to the point where they pull up a TV so that this man can see the TARDIS being destroyed right in front of him. Oh my gosh. If no F's to give was in physical form, it would be a Dalek. In the TARDIS, as it is being destroyed, we cut to Donna. She is, getting tousled and turned. And as she is laying there on the floor, she looks up and sees the doctor's severed hand, like wisping with regeneration energy, which prompts her to touch it. I don't know about y'all, but if something is exuding physical energy that I can see, my last response is to touch it, but I digress. She touches the severed hand, and this causes a reaction between her and the severed hand, breaking the jar, and it ends up growing another doctor. Then we cut to the doctor, Rose, and Jack watching the last of the TARDIS being consumed in the heart of the crucible on TV. They believe Donna and the TARDIS to be gone forever, when in fact the new doctor that grew from the hand teleports the TARDIS out of the heart of the crucible just in time. But on the TV, it really looks like it just kind of like melts into it instead of evaporates and flies away. As the Daleks are laughing and taunting the doctor about this, Jack decides to rush forward and shoot at the Dalek commander, which obviously gets him killed. But if there's one thing we all know about Jack, Rose doesn't know this, the doctor knows this, it's that Jack cannot die. So while Rose is freaking out because she thinks her friend just died, the doctor is kind of like, come on, we can't do anything about this. The reason I zero in on this is because I think it shows thinking, like the doctor is thinking on his feet, right? He could have revealed right then and there to Rose that Jack wasn't dead, but for later events, he needed her reaction to convince the Daleks that he was actually dead. But as the doctor is consoling Rose, they are whisked down to the basement of the crucible by the Daleks. And before heading down the stairs, the doctor takes one look back at Jack, who winks at the doctor before playing dead again. Back in the TARDIS with the new doctor, which is how I will be describing the doctor that grew from the hand, because at this point in the episode, we now have two doctors. So when I'm talking about the original doctor, he will just be called the doctor. And when I'm talking about the doctor that grew from the hand, I will say the new doctor, just to keep that distinction so neither of us get lost. So the new doctor has parked the TARDIS silently away from the crucible, and he basically explains to Donna how he was able to grow in the first place. And he says Donna touched the hand full of regeneration energy, causing an instantaneous biological metacrisis. Say that 5 times fast. He says that he was able to grow because of her, and because of that, it means that he is part Time Lord, part human. So he only has one heart. The new doctor also explains that the heartbeat that Donna had been hearing throughout both episodes all this time was his heartbeat, kind of like the future, bleeding through. And there's been this theme throughout every single Donna episode where she does not believe she's important in any way, shape, or form. She doesn't even understand why the doctor chose her to travel with him. So when things are being told to her, all timelines converge on you, you're the reason this is happening, as a positive thing, she's just like, I'm not important. Why are you saying this to me? Why are you acting? I'm not important. Which, in fact, I would say she is. The new doctor explains to her that all of this was meant to happen. Then we cut back to Martha, who is now inside the castle that she landed in Germany, and she's met by this woman who lets her into the castle. And before our scene ends, the lady threatens to shoot Martha because she wants to stop her from using the Osterhagen key, because she said that she'd heard from the soldiers how terrible of a thing it is. And Martha simply says to the lady that she has a duty, and if she wants to shoot her, then shoot her. But the lady does not end up shooting her, and Martha heads even further downstairs into the castle. Then we cut back to the crucible, and at this point, Jack has escaped into a corridor and is heading elsewhere. And then we cut to Mickey, Jackie, and Sarah. I'll just be calling her Sarah instead of Sarah Jane. They're all now on the crucible, and they're being taken to this place where other humans are being held for Dalek testing. Now downstairs, the doctor and Rose are face to face with Davros. The doctor and Davros kind of have this back and forth with each other, and then Dalek Khan decides that he wants to chime into the conversation, and he says, and I quote, "The doctor and his children of time, and one of them will die." He also says, at the time of the ending, the doctor doctor's soul will be revealed. Then, to even further rub salt in the wound, Davros tells the doctor that they will watch the launching of the reality bomb. That prompts us to cut back to Mickey, Jackie, and Sarah with this other group of people. Mickey and Sarah sneak away into this corridor, away from the circle where people are being held, while Jackie is still standing with the others. Now they're being told to stand there like with their hands over their heads. And as the reality bomb is getting charged up to be used, we get a cut to seeing all 27 planets being activated. And it gets explained to us that when in alignment, the planets, it's either create or charge. I wrote create question mark because I'm just using the word create. It's not explained as create, but they create Z neutrino energy that messes with the electrical field bound to every atom. And basically, it redistributes the atom of everything. We're all made up of atoms. My hand is made up of atoms. So the reality bomb would take all the atoms in my hand and disperse it. So technically, it doesn't kill people, it redisperses them. But I mean, if you're not a complete human with all your atoms put together, are you really human? Are you really alive? But just as the machine is about to go off, Mickey signals to Jackie that her dimension jumper is fully charged. Remember what I said in the last episode? It took 30 minutes to charge. It has now been half an hour, and Jackie uses it to teleport to the safe place that Mickey and Sarah are standing in the corridor. And as she is now safe, they all turn around to watch the reality bomb go off, and all the people that were standing where Jackie just was get redistributed. Then we cut back to the doctor, and as Davros is gloating, the doctor puts together that the Daleks plan to use the reality bomb to basically destroy reality. People, planets, space, time, all of it, till the only thing left are Daleks. Which, when I heard this, I'm like, I personally do not understand why the Daleks would want to do this. I understand they don't like anything in the universe, but part of their personality is liking to conquer and kill things. And after you've basically destroyed all of reality and there's nothing else for you to conquer and kill, wouldn't you just turn on yourselves out of boredom? Like, I'm not saying I'm on the Dalek side at all. I'm just saying, like, the math isn't mathing. If you love destroying stuff and you destroy everything, you no longer have anything to destroy. Moving on. Remember how I said that Jack escaped into the corridors? Now he has met up with Mickey, Sarah, and Jackie, and Sarah reveals to her little group now that she has a warp star. She shows it off to the group and reveals that she has it because she believes it is something they can use to destroy the Daleks. And Jack basically explains that a warp star is, and I quote, a warp fold conjugation trapped in a carbonized shell. And he says it's like an explosion waiting to happen. And then at this point, all the groups that have formed have all come up with plans to destroy the Daleks. They are broadcasting their plan to the Crucible. So the plans that I'm about to tell you, everything I'm about to tell you, the doctor is watching this on screen, Davros is watching this on screen, is being broadcast for them to see. And basically all the stuff I'm about to tell you is what these groups are threatening to do to the Daleks if they do not return Earth home. Starting with Martha, she threatens to implement the Ostahagen key, which is basically, and I quote, a key that activates 25 nuclear warheads beneath the Earth's crust, ripping the Earth apart. It is supposed to be an act of mercy on humans when their suffering is so great and just so without hope that it's something that needs to be used. The new doctor created a, and I quote, Z neutrino biological inversion catalyzer. It is basically a machine that locks onto the biological code of Davros, which Davros's DNA is in within every single Dalek within existence. So to destroy Davros and destroy Davros's DNA means he destroys the DNA of every Dalek, which means he destroys every Dalek. Then our last group to form, that being Jack, Jackie, Sarah, and Mickey, they threaten the Daleks with the warp star that they have wired into the mainframe of the ship. Jack says if he breaks the shell of the warp star, the crucible basically explodes. As the doctor is watching this, he's watching the screen with like utter disapproval and disgust, honestly. And Davros basically reiterates Dalek Khan's prophecy, that being his soul is revealed. And Davros basically says to the doctor, for someone who hates violence, for someone who doesn't carry a weapon, he is good at turning ordinary people into weapons for him. This kind of causes like a playback to happen where we get cuts to different clips from different episodes where the doctor is revisiting and rethinking about all the times someone has sacrificed themselves in his name. Because this is definitely one trend I noticed throughout Doctor Who, and it is also not something that is only mentioned in the 10th Doctor season. You could draw a parallel between this moment and a moment that happens in the 11th Doctor season, and I believe the episode called A Good Man Goes to War, where it is reiterated to the Doctor again that he turns people into weapons. He brings them up only for them to fall. So when I was watching this and I was watching that, I just thought that was an interesting parallel that continues to happen throughout the Doctor's life. I think it also happens in the 12th Doctor season as well, but don't quote me on that. I have not finished his season yet, but it is definitely a trend for the Doctor. But before Jack, Jackie, Sarah, and Mickey can activate their plan, they basically get teleported to the basement where the Doctor and Rose are being held. As they are all defeated, Davros gives orders for the reality bomb to be activated, and as the bomb is being charged up, the TARDIS lands in the basement, which, remember, at this point, the Doctor thinks that Donna is dead and his TARDIS is gone. So for it to just show up right then and there, the man was too stunned to speak. Now that the TARDIS is in the basement, the new Doctor basically runs out of the TARDIS and charges towards Davros with the Z neutrino biological inversion catalyzer, only to be electrocuted and placed in a holding cell like the rest of them. Then Donna tries to finish what he started, and she is also electrocuted by Davros, and literally he electrocutes them with the flick of a finger. Davros also throws the, I want to see if I can say without looking at it, the Z neutrino biological inversion catalyzer. Yes, he destroys it right in front of them. And as the reality bomb is still being charged up and it is about to go off, it just stops. And everyone's looking around like, what just happened? And we see that Donna is the one who has stopped the reality bomb from going off. We also find out that she is now part Time Lord and she has a Time Lord brain. So calculating how to turn it off was as simple as breathing for her at this point. She explains to the entire group, now that she has the brain of a Time Lord, that the biological metacrisis worked both ways, making the new Doctor part Time Lord, part human, but also her part human, part Time Lord, creating the Dr. Donna, which I should say is something that has been mentioned in prior episodes. Dr. Donna, who is that? What is that? What is happening? And this is that moment that the Dr. Donna is created. Are you keeping up here? We have new Doctor, the Doctor, Dr. Donna. In the room, we also have Jack, Rose, Martha, Mickey, Jackie, and Sarah Jane. That's everyone. Are we together? Come on, we can stick together on this. We got this. The Dr. Donna is an Ood prophecy, by the way. I have that written down right here. The Dr. Donna basically frees everyone, and as she frees everyone, she also messes with the Daleks' controls, so they're not able to attack. They're basically just in the room spinning around and, not being able to do what they're programmed to do. And she enlists the help of the new Doctor and the Doctor to put all 27 planets back where they belong. The rest of the crew, as they are doing this, remember the Daleks are just spinning, so they just basically push them up against the walls away from where they're operating. It's quite funny. I would love to be able to push a Dalek. Mickey holds Davros at gunpoint, and Davros explains his anger to Dalek Khan for not telling him this prophecy, the prophecy that the Daleks would be defeated. And Dalek Khan just maniacally laughs. When I tell you, I literally videoed this laugh because it had me laughing. I'll play it right here because it's so funny.
You promised me, Dalek Khan. Why did you not foresee this?
This man is having a crisis. He's like, I thought I was winning and you betrayed me. And then Dalek Khan just starts geeking. After his little giggle break, the Doctor explains to Davros that Dalek Khan did in fact see this happening. And Dalek Khan explains that this was always going to happen. And he just kind of helped it happen because after he went crazy, after he went and saved Davros, he actually got to see what Daleks were, and he didn't like what he saw. As this is happening, the Supreme Dalek, which is the main Dalek that has been in charge this whole time, you would think it'd be Davros, but the Supreme Dalek and the other Daleks basically treat Davros as like the grandfather who they just take care of. So he's coming down to the basement to destroy Davros and to destroy everyone because they stopped the reality bomb from happening. But before he is able to destroy everything, he's only able to destroy the machinery that the new Doctor, and Dr. Donna were using. And the only reason he is stopped from destroying anything but the machine is because Jack kills the Supreme Dalek after it kills the machine. At this point, they have returned every single planet except Earth to its original positioning, but now they can't because the machine is destroyed. So they decide to get in the TARDIS and basically fly Earth back to its original positioning in the Milky Way. While everyone is heading into the TARDIS, that being, stick with me, Jack, Rose, Jackie, Mickey, Sarah Jane, Dr. Donna, New Doctor, and the Doctor, as they are all heading into the TARDIS, Dalek Khan tells the Doctor that he has seen the end of the Daleks and that it is his job to destroy the Daleks forever. And the new Doctor agrees and he destroys all the Daleks. Then we get a shortcut to Gwen and Yanto in the Torchwood hub, and the Dalek that was in front of the time lock gets destroyed. And again, so does every other Dalek everywhere. Now cutting to the inside of the TARDIS, the Doctor basically scolds the new Doctor for making that decision to destroy an entire race in the universe. And the Doctor even in fact offers his oldest enemy, Davros, to get onto his ship, get onto the TARDIS and be saved, but Davros rejects the offer, cursing him as he does it. And before the Doctor shuts the doors of the TARDIS, Dalek Khan gives him one more prophecy, that being that one of them is still destined to die. And on the TARDIS, we get this really cool scene that I want to break down. So basically, the Doctor contacts Torchwood to help them be able to fly Earth back to its original place. And when the Doctor and Rose see Gwen's face, he asks her if she's from an old family in Cardiff. And when she says yes, him and Rose kind of have this freak out moment. And the Doctor basically says spatial genetic multiplicity. And basically, the reason I highlight this is because as I am watching Doctor Who, I'm also doing stuff with Torchwood. And so I've kind of been tracking every single time a person from Torchwood shows up in a Doctor Who episode, which funny enough has happened twice now since Toshiko showed up in the last episode in my last recap of my favorite Ninth Doctor season. And when it comes to Gwen, this is Gwen's first time showing up in Doctor Who, but the actor who plays Gwen, this is not her first time showing up in Doctor Who, because she in fact plays a character in the Ninth Doctor season who is this woman from, I don't know if it's the 1700s, 1800s, but a long time ago. And honestly, when I saw that episode and I was like, wait, but this actor plays a character in Torchwood, I was like, how are they going to mix that up? How are they going to, what reasoning are they going to give to have the same actor playing different characters in the same universe? And this was I think, a fun way to do that, saying that, oh, it's spatial genetic multiplicity, basically you having the same face as a family member hundreds of years later. I just thought that was fun and cool. But he basically asks Torchwood to open up their rift manipulator to send him power to the TARDIS. So this can basically act as a tow rope between the TARDIS and the Earth. Then he also calls Luke, who is Sarah Jane's son, if you remember, and Mr. Smith, who is Sarah Jane's supercomputer, to harness that rift power and loop it around the TARDIS. Then he gives everyone a place in a task on the console to hold. As he's doing this, he explains that the TARDIS is actually meant to be flown by 6 people. And also this funny scene happens. Again, in the TARDIS, we have Jack, Jackie, Mickey, Sarah Jane, Rose, Dr. Donna, the new Doctor, and the Doctor, and Martha. Oh my gosh. And Martha. I keep forgetting to mention Martha. Back when Jack and them were teleported into the basement of the Dalek command ship, so was Martha. I'm so sorry. I forgot to say that. Martha was always there. Martha has been there since that moment. She is here on the TARDIS now. I'm so sorry. I probably corrected myself back then, but I'm saying sorry now. Martha is here too. But as he is giving everyone a job inside the TARDIS, he gets to Jackie. He looks he looks at her and he's like, not you, Jackie, never you. It's just so funny. You have to see it. It's just these moments like this, moments of his little bit of sass that just get me. But all together, every single one of the Doctor's closest friends fly the Earth back home. And the moment that they get the Earth back in its original place, they all cheer, they all clap, they all celebrate. The Doctor, he opens the doors and now they're on Earth. He says his first goodbyes to Sarah Jane. Then he says his goodbyes to Martha and Jack at the same time, but he does not let them walk off before he re-disables Jack's teleport. And he also tells Martha to get rid of the Ostahagen key. Then Mickey gets off the TARDIS saying that he plans to stay in this universe. One of the reasons that Mickey decided to stay in the alternate universe is because his grandmother, who had passed in the Doctor's universe, was still alive in the alternate universe, but she passed in the alternate universe. So he decides to try something new and live back in his original universe. But Mickey says his goodbyes to Jackie and he meets up with Martha and Jack. Then the Doctor flies to Bad Wolf Bay on the parallel universe and drops off Jackie and Rose and the new Doctor. The Doctor and Dr. Donna basically explain to them all that since the reality bomb technically never happened, the walls of the universe are closing. So once they close, Jackie, the new Doctor, and Rose will not be able to cross over again. And Rose, is sad about this because she had just reunited with the Doctor after being ripped from him when she got dragged to the parallel universe the first time. But the Doctor explains to her that saving the universe came at a cost, and that cost was the new Doctor. The new Doctor reminds him of who he was when he first met Rose. One thing I talk about in my one video is how the Doctor talks to Rose, and that was a big thing for me. It's because like when he would talk to Rose sometimes, it was like he would wield the power or a power over her, and the 10th Doctor doesn't do that as much. So I think that is what he's talking about. He's talking about this headstrong man who just does what he wants, and I guess he believes that Rose softened him, and so he's like, he needs you to become the man that I am now, and to teach him to be a better Doctor. And Rose explains that the new Doctor isn't him. She wants to be with him. She doesn't want the new Doctor. And then the Doctor, Donna, kind of like prompts the new Doctor to start talking, and he basically tells Rose that he is the Doctor. He has his brain, his personality, his body. The only difference is that he is human and they can grow old together. And at this point, Rose is not convinced till the new Doctor is able to complete the sentence of the last thing the Doctor was saying to Rose on Bad Wolf Bay when he first left her. The new Doctor whispers the answer to the sentence in her ear, and then she kisses him. And as she is distracted kissing him, the Doctor and Dr. Donna get in the TARDIS and fly away. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else finds this weird, but I would find it absolutely weird if someone dropped off a almost clone version of themselves to me and was like, here, you can have this. But Rose and so many other people have had crushes on the Doctor, but I guess Rose was the only one who was able to live out her life with the Doctor and have the Doctor as her man. I think River Song is the only other person who can say that she's with the Doctor. She's married to the Doctor. This part always gets me because it's kind of weird, kind of freaky, kind of nasty. Dr. Donna and the Doctor are now in the TARDIS leaving to go back to their universe, and the Doctor sadly explains to Donna, or reiterates to her, because she has the brain of a Time Lord now, so she knows what is happening, but he explains that there has never been a human with a Time Lord's consciousness, and there is a reason for that. There's also never been a human Time Lord meta crisis, and the reason that has never happened before is because it can't happen. The human brain, the human mind isn't meant to harbor a Time Lord consciousness. The Time Lord consciousness is too big for a human brain to house. So Donna Noble is effectively like burning up on the inside. Again, she already knows because she has the brain of a Time Lord right now, but as the Doctor is actually verbally saying this to her, she is becoming a bit distraught because she said that she had planned on traveling with him for the rest of her life. She never wanted it to end, but the Doctor gets close to her and he says his goodbye before wiping her brain of all memory of him. Then he takes her home. Now back at her house with her family, that being her grandfather and her mother named Sylvia, he explains to them what he has done, and he also explains that Donna can never remember him. She can never know about him, and they cannot tell her about him or her brain will burn up and she will die. He also tells them that even though she cannot remember, the universe remembers her, and she has saved so many lives across the universe, and so many planets would not exist and thrive today if it not had been for her. I think one example of this for sure is the planet of the Oods. She was a big part in freeing the Oods. But at the end of his statement, he makes sure to reiterate that she is never forgotten across time and space. Then Donna comes out of her bedroom, and it's the same scene that happens at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, where like Donna sees the Doctor, but she doesn't see the Doctor. She interacts with him as if she's never known him. And the Doctor introduces himself as if he's never known Donna. And she doesn't care because she thinks, you know, it's my family having a guest over. It really means nothing to her. And the Doctor leaves, being escorted out by Donna's grandfather. He lastly says goodbye to Donna's grandfather, and our episode ends with the Doctor flying off in the TARDIS alone. So that is the end of both of our episodes. Again, I will reiterate the reason I chose this storyline, I should say, as my favorite storyline in Doctor Who is because of the just togetherness of it. The best way I can explain it is like watching each Marvel movies separately, like watching all the Spider-Man movies, watching all the Iron Man movies, watching all Captain America movies, and then finally they get together. It's that same exact feeling for me. And I love seeing all the companions and all the people who have traveled with the Doctor also meeting each other, and you know, all these parallels being drawn between these different parts of the universe, the Doctor Who universe, that don't interact completely all the time. I love that aspect of it. At one point, we have 4 out of the many companions the Doctor has traveled with for long periods of time in the TARDIS, you know, interacting with each other. I can't personally say I've seen that happen since this time period of Doctor Who. It's just there's something about it that I absolutely love, and so that's why I chose it as my favorite Doctor Who episodes. Please feel free to share with me down in the comment section your favorite 10th Doctor Who episode out of all 3 of his seasons. You can explain yourself or you don't have to. Again, if you skipped my intro, I will be posting on a every other week schedule because I am leading up to final season and my schedule is just getting absolutely busy. That is also one of the reasons that I unexpectedly took a 2-week break from posting videos. It was not something I wanted to do. It was something that just inevitably happened because I just simply did not have time. So again, sorry, but thank you for working with me. Thank you for still being subscribed, even though I was gone without a notice. But if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more of me. Again, I will be posting every other Wednesday. I do have a second channel, which is always in the description down below. I also have an Instagram and a TikTok that I always forget to tell you about. I hope you have a good weekend, weekday, weeknight, and bye!